And so he became convinced that it was divine intervention that saved his life. It engendered in him a drive to fight racism and to see American people liberated from oppression by whites. He became a lifelong struggle, and this became his mission. Clemson Brown is worried that younger generations are not in touch with their rich history that sustained Africans and Africans of the diaspora. Where will this generation go to see, touch, hear, and even feel the struggle about African people to combat and overcome the yoke of racial oppression? That is why he has spent his life since 1976 collecting on film the struggle of African people. On film, he shows the demonstrations by the thousands. Black folks used to show up by the thousands at demonstrations. Now it's hard to get 100 of us out. He shows that Reverend Daughtry had a principal role in the struggle. And so many black folks followed the lead and would come out when called upon. He has all of this captured, and what he's trying to do now is to catalog it and to put it into a structure where we can come and see the things that we did. We changed New York. We just don't know it. It's on film. So it's really the greatest pleasure for us to recognize Minister Brown for his work. We all know that he's been doing it for many, many years. He's in a struggle to raise the money to do what has to be done to put this invaluable information into a format that we can look at and we can learn from, and we can ask, why is it that we no longer will take to the streets when we're called upon to do so? What intervention took place to stop this from happening? It's all in that film. And I'm happy to tell you, brothers and sisters, in the very near future, we're going to start to show some of Minister Brown's films at CMOTAP so that you can see for yourself the great, great work that this man has done. And Minister Brown, if you don't mind joining me here. We have an award for him. This is it. All right, now I want you to see this. It says, the Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People presents to videographer Minister Clemson Brown the Lifetime Achievement Award for the many decades of service and sacrifice to African people around the globe by preserving our history of struggle. Sister Betty Dobson, Chair, Brother James McIntosh, Co-Chair, we're both co-chairs, and on behalf of the Executive Committee of CMOTAP, on May 3rd, 2014, it is my pleasure to present this award to you.
First of all, to the beautiful Betty Dodson, and she is beautiful. Dr. James McIntosh, and all of the CMOTAP members, I am truly grateful, thankful to be honored at this particular time. To all of the brothers and sisters, and especially Dr. Dees that I see in the background, Sister Ollie McLean here. I started doing this documentation back in 1976 actually it was earlier. They didn't have video machines then, so I didn't start this to sell tapes and make money. Matter of fact, I didn't get into video until 1982. But all during the 70s, it was film that I was shooting on. And I had the urge, because I had hundreds and hundreds of hours worth of film that I had, kind of packed away for years. So for 35 years, I really had not went back and touched this stuff. And I started putting it into Sam's and getting it transferred, and it's expensive. And looking at it, and there was all of the 70s and early 80s on film that I haven't really looked at in 35 years. I'm probably glad of it, because had I had it out there, it would be sold all over the place, to be on the internet. But this is a whole treasure that was never shown. But it's all of the organizing, all of the demonstrations, everything that happened that African people, well, back then in the 70s and the early 80s, we were really united. And to see us moving together to bring about the first black school chancellor, the first black police commissioner, the first black mayor, David Dinkins, this just did not come about. It came about because black people were together, they organized, they strategized, they outmaneuvered, and we had to outmaneuver it. I mean, you see, they talk about Wall Street and those people who are white folks who down in Wall Street. Now, we was in Wall Street in 78. 30,000 of us, led by Reverend Daughtry, marched to Wall Street and made the connection between the way black people lived in their community was the direct result of these people down here on Wall Street. That in fact, they used to sell us down here on Wall Street, and that money that makes all this, market and all these millionaires came from our enslavement by these same people who are here today. All of that, I mean, the statistics, all of the issues that we have today, black unemployment, miseducation, police killings, all of that was going on then at the same rate as it is now. A little greater. But we were organized and we confronted the powers that be. Mayor Koch was mayor in 76. And one of them demonstrations, I mean, I was looking at Sister Soldier, we were looking at it. Sister Soldier was young, fine, fiery, and we marched to Mayor Koch's house down in the village, and she was telling him, we gonna come in there and drag your ass out. I mean, we had, in them days, we was much more militant, I think, organized. You can't. And so, I won't take up much of your time because Betty really covered a lot of stuff. That was really true about them white folks putting that chain on. They put the chain on. They was gonna lynch me. And the sister who did that story wanted to make sure the story was true. So she wanted some kind of documentation. So I said, well, my cousin who was with me, he's still alive. He's in the hospital. He had cancer. And she called him to verify that story, and he told her the same story because it was him. He never got out the car. I got out the car. They didn't even pay him no attention. So when they were trying to get the chain around me, I started hollering for him. I couldn't get away because they had me surrounded. I said, Crawford, shoot him! Because I knew Crawford was loaded. I didn't have a gun on me. Crawford had the gun. And I started out to shoot. They didn't pay me no attention. And finally, Crawford rolled the window down on the passenger side and stuck the gun out and said, which one? I said, shoot all these motherfuckers. Shoot them right now. And he clicked it tight. And that's when they started backing off and left him. And it did rain. And I know that that rain saved me. And that's what really put me on this mission. heavy history when it comes to white folk. I have done some things I ain't gonna go into. But I didn't let that go. I got my revenge. Let me say this. I look out, I see you brothers and sisters. I look on those films. A lot of us are not here. But I am sure proud to have been a warrior with you. I see you on those films. I see the struggle we've been through. I see your bravery. I know. See, when the Black United Front was formed, Reverend Daughtry was the point man in those days. We organized 1,000 men for community control in the Crown Heights area. You know, we had Charles Barron was there, everybody was there. I mean, and to look back at this and see us, these young brothers, if Reverend Daughtry had gave the word, you could have had 1,000 police out there, which there were sometimes. There were hundreds of police, like blocking the Brooklyn Bridge. But if the word was given, every one of us was going into that line, even if it meant our death. And we have to somehow instill this, show this to our young people. They have to know nobody gave us nothing. We took it. And if we get anything else, we're going to take that. Power yields to nothing. It never did. It never will. Marcus Garvey. Again, I want to thank Senator. I'm just happy. Thank you.